Hello, 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 and welcome back to another YouTube and Facebook Live with yours truly, Prandhara Prem. And tonight I am so excited to have Queen SanTana, aka Bondage Queen Tana. She is the goddess of Sunshine and Badassery, who is also a professional femme, rope switch, kink educator, rope instructor, and performer. She's based in New York City, my hometown. I was born in Brooklyn, New York.
That's right.
She is a pleasure activist who encourages freedom from sexual repression through self-love and kink. She also teaches kinksters how to self-tie and use rope as a tool for connection, stress relief, and meditation. So, yes, I'm so excited to have her on here. And so I like the fact that you teach about using rope for stress relief, meditation, and these things. And this is what we're talking about today. The healing powers of rope tying, right?
Right.
So a lot of times I think it's important to have these conversations because, people, these are just learning experiences for people to understand different things about sexuality, Tantra, BDSM, kink. And so many times people think kink or BDSM and it's like something so foreign or something like I could never do that. And sometimes people are doing kink stuff and they just don't know it, right?
Exactly.
And a lot of times some of the practices people look at it and think, oh, it's just so crazy, so wild, and so out there. But there's a lot of healing benefits to some of these different things. There's a lot of these things that people who dealt with trauma or different issues, they seek this to help themselves. So this is a really important topic. And for those of you who know me, I have this live most Wednesdays. I try to have it every Wednesday, but every now and then, I need a little break or something's happening.
As you
So
should.
I won't have it, but pretty much I'm having it on Wednesdays. And it's all about having these conversations on sexuality to really take the taboo out of sexuality to make this more of a norm. So I see people are on. Say hello. Let us know you're on here
Hello.
as you're
Hi.
coming on. And as you're coming on and you're saying hello, let us know if you have any experience with kink. Let us know if you've, whatever questions you may have. All of you know that I love to have this interactive. So I love to be able to answer any questions that you might have. And, as we're going and we're talking. So, hey, baby. Hey, Phil in Brazil. so, um, so tell me about that. Well, before we even talk about you using rope tying in the form of stress relief and meditation, how did you get into this? So those of you who know, I always ask the same question. This is my first question. Then the rest of the time is flowing. But how did you get into this? How did you get into the kink, to the BDSM lifestyle, rope tying? Because it's not something you're born with saying, coming out of your mama's stomach, I want to get tied up, I want to tie somebody up. So
Right. Well, I was in a very long-term relationship and yes, for more than like a decade or so. So at least for like the last 5 years of it, we did a lot of sexually kinky things. So I do like impact play and breath play, like choking, things like that. A lot of things that people like now. Um, and I started to see a lot of like rope pictures online. So I liked the art of it first. I liked the symmetry of it and the asymmetry of it more, actually. And it always just looked so beautiful. I didn't really see me or people that looked like me in it,
Yeah.
though. So I didn't know if I had a place in this community. Uh, but for one of my birthdays, I forgot now. It's probably like 3 years ago, so probably my 25th or 26th birthday. I had a pro dom session, and I got tied up and spanked and all kind of other things, and it was great. But the rope was, it was just that thing that I was like, yeah, this is what I've been wanting, and it was so, I don't know, it felt very affirming. And I like the rope hug feeling. That's definitely always a plus.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then I've had like some bad experiences in kink. And then I also separated from that relationship. So I started to use rope as a way to heal. And it helps me with my anxiety, the depression, and all of the shit I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's just it's a nice thing for me.
Right.
it,
So
it's
that's so
a
interesting
spiritual
because
kind of thing for me, I think. Yeah.
what?
It's a spiritual kind of thing for me.
Okay, that's beautiful. I've never heard it explained this way. And so hello to those who are coming on. Hello, D Jones. And so that's so interesting. And I like that how and I just gotta say, everybody, I'm popping her live cherry. So this is Queen SanTana's first live. And I am so excited to pop that cherry. I love popping cherries.
Same here, same here.
Yes. So, how did that help you? Okay, so you had this breakup. Um, how did the rope tying help you through the stress, anxiety, the depression? Like, what did you feel? Like, how did it soothe you, I guess?
Right. So it did become like a self-soothing mechanism and coping mechanism for me. Um, I started to really study it. And so when you're doing rope tying, there's a lot of, uh, well, specifically shibari. It's the one that's influenced by shibari, the Japanese rope tying.
Mhm.
It's a very technical and a lot of a lot of technicalities and things that you have to remember. So it's very meticulous. So it's something that you have to be very in the moment for and just very present for. So it doesn't like allow any time for me to think about anything else. Um, when I got into like the just doing things tighter on myself, I got to really get like that compression feeling. And I always call it like a rope hug. And I think that's the best way to explain it because like people forget like we need hugs. Like biologically speaking, we need like 8 hugs a day, right? We don't get that. And that's a cool way for me to get that squeezing kind of feeling on places of my body. Um, your happy hormones are very much elicited in this kind of play. And then like the art aspect, I feel so pretty and sexy when I'm tying myself up. So yeah, it's always a nice thing for me. Like even doing this right now, it's to calm me down, but like it's so fun. This could be used for something, and that's that makes me excited. That makes me happy.
That is so beautiful. And when you were talking, that's what came to me was a hug, right? When you were talking about the compression, like it's like a hug, like you're receiving a hug. And wow, this is great already, guys. If you enjoyed this so far, let us know. Write down you're learning some stuff, and don't forget me to give me a thumbs up, give me that like, and share this with other people
Hmm, hmm.
that are liking this because this can really help someone. And I like the aspect of what you said about meditation, right? And being present. And that makes so much sense because that's what meditation is about. Meditation is about keeping you in this present moment, not in the past, not in the future. And
Hmm.
so, I teach meditation. Obviously, my meditation is different because I don't do ropes, right? But more and more that I've had people coming on here talking about rope, I've had different people come on here. I'm just like, I want to get tied up. And it's so interesting because I'm a switch, but I'm more of a dom than a sub. And
Hmm.
so, before maybe just last year, I would have never wanted to get tied up. Like when I took that BDSM test, I was like, oh no. And so it was like it came up 0% rope bunny, right? And
Wow.
I was the one who would be able to be the rigger, right? That the person who tied. But
Hmm.
that still wasn't very high on my list because I wasn't too attracted to that. But just from having the many different people on here over this course of the year, I'm wanting more and more to be tied. And I think that, for me, it's about, I'm always having to be in control. I'm always in my masculine energy, doing. And so, one, I think it'll be healing for me because that'll help me to be in a, to connect with that feminine energy of submitting a little bit.
Right.
Or not submitting, I should say the feminine energy of receiving and just being instead of doing, right? So I want to correct that. And so, so that's the biggest thing. And for me, and I think also being able to have that experience of being submissive, because I think that's also healing, for me, in the sense of me being able to keep that my energies in balance and not being like not going more on one end
Right.
of my energy spectrum. So, and I would really like to see that meditative piece, because it makes sense if you're tying or if you're being tied, you're in that present moment, right? You're breathing with that person,
Right.
and you're connecting to their energy. So not only is it a meditative, but as I'm talking, I'm thinking it's a good way of increasing the intimacy and the connection between you and that person, whether it's a partner or not. But it is an intimate thing, but not necessarily meaning that you have to have sex after, or it's an intimate thing that can be done with a friend or with a partner.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it. I love it. You you get me. I love that. I love that. You're absolutely right. Honestly. And even the connection part, you can have, it's a self connection thing too if you self tie. And
Right.
I'm also a switch, so I get the whole wanting to balance out your energies kind of thing. And I started with self tying. So I I was looking for a way to be in my submissive energy as well. And then it got into, oh, but now I want to flex like my dom and my top muscles, and it just it was a good way, I think, doing self-tying first, because a lot of people don't always do that. Some people are a little afraid to do the self-tying first, and they kind of just go into rigging straight on. But I do think that it's a great way to just have that experience of how someone else would be feeling, to experience. If you are a top or a dominant, it's good to know how the bottom or the submissive would be feeling. And
True.
I think that that's helped me a lot in a lot of ways, definitely. And the self connection thing, it's rope is fun, even by just like the feel of it, it's a very intimate thing already. You're very very true in that.
Yes. So Phil says, "Oh my God, OMG." I love how you always bring somebody who gives us a whole new perspective. Her analogy to the hugs was hot.
Thank you, thank
So, I love it. I love it. Thank you, Phil. Yeah. Um, yeah, because everybody, I could have, like, I've probably had at least 5 different people on here that's talked about ropes, but it's always from a different perspective and
Yeah,
from where, they're at, where you're at. So it's never going to be the same conversation, you know. So, so it's true. And this is just amazing. It's amazing. And so, you said you use this for so you have it now. Oh well, before, okay, I was gonna go into the anxiety, but hold on, let me go back. So the self-tying.
hmm
So you do a lot of self-tying, um what I'm hearing, right?
yes.
And so, and that's one of the things. And by the way, you have a pink rope, and that's what I want. So I
Ah,
think, yeah, anybody coming to Brazil, mental note, bring me pink rope. I would love to have that so I could practice. That's what I want. And I live in Rio de Janeiro. So, you
that's
know,
beautiful.
I love it. So, so I definitely do want to start like practicing the tying and doing myself tying to see what it would feel like to
Mhm.
tie on myself, you know? Um, and then I, it's so interesting. I would actually want to be tied first and then practice tying on someone else, which I think just a year ago I would have never, yeah, I would have never even wanted to get tied first. But now I have so much like such a huge part of me really wanting to experience this.
I love that. That's called growth.
Yes, it's called growth. I'm growing, mommy.
I love it. I do think that it's a very it can be a very transformative thing, definitely. I think rope, although it's pretty and all that, it's also one of the most dangerous uh,
Mhm.
plays that we could do because of the risks that are there, which is like nerve damage and everything. I could get into a whole thing about that, but I wanted to
No,
touch.
actually, yeah. Please do after you touch on what you want to touch on because that is, I
Okay,
think that's important for people to hear and
absolutely.
understand. Yeah.
Um, I was just gonna say, I find that people have a hard time. Some people have a hard time with rope, and it ends up being like a trust thing.
Hmm.
And I, I absolutely understand it, especially when if it's people that look like us,
Hmm.
and there's kind of like this preconceived perception about it, because it is kind of akin to some things in slavery. But
Right.
I think that there's a like a growth. There is a growth and just kind of a beauty in being able to transform that kind of pain and that trauma into something that can be healing.
Yes.
I I I don't take it for granted when people let me tie them up, especially the ones that were like hesitant to begin with. Um,
Hmm.
I do get like the compliment that my energy is very grounding and uh just calming for them, which is
Hmm.
good. People need that in order to feel comfortable and safe to do things, which is what
Yeah.
it's all about. You want to do it in a safe and consensual way.
Right, exactly. And that's pretty much the principles of BDSM, right? Being
Hmm.
safe, consensual,
And
um,
sane.
and sane. Did it recently change?
Uh, I mean, there's a few others. Let
Okay.
me see. Ooh, I don't want to mess it up. I know there's risk or rack. No, there's rack. Uh, risk
Yes,
of
that's what I was thinking
sexual
of.
kink, that one. And the one that you just said. And I mean, there's some others for like consent, I believe. Uh, so I did one. Well, we came up with one for fries. It's called fries. For consent. What is consent? Freely given. It's reversible, informed, enthusiastic, and specific. Hmm.
Right,
So,
right. Okay. So, guys who are on here, don't forget, like, say hello. Let us know you're here. Do you have any questions about tying? Do you have any questions about being rope? About rope tying. Have you ever been tied?
yeah.
Have you tied? Share. Let us know what your experience have been if you've had that experience. Um, oh, Dr. D Jones says, I love fries. So I guess that's another one.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like that one. It
So what
helps.
does fries stand for? I haven't
So,
heard that.
so fries, for a good way to remember what consent is. Uh, F for freely given. Consent is freely given. It's not, you're not coerced into it. Um, Reversible for the R. Uh, you can take Consent can be reversed. It can be taken away. People can change their mind, and you still have to respect that. Um, I is informed. You need to be letting people know the things that you are planning and wanting to do with and to them.
Mhm.
And it should be, again, agreed upon and consented. Um, E, enthusiastic. Uh, if it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck no. I don't know if I can curse, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Um, but yeah, I like enthusiastic consent. And maybe not too enthusiastic sometimes. I like that's when like the sane part comes in. Like I need you to still be sane about that, not
right.
too overly eager where you don't care about your safety. And S specific. So yeah, specific about what you're gonna be doing, and everyone is aware and informed about it. So
Awesome. So Teddy K Jeep has a question, but before we go to that question, what are some of the risks? Because you talked about nerve damage. What are some of the risks, and how can someone get nerve damage? Because now that you said that, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I still want to get it done, but now I'm like, okay, I got to make sure
yeah,
knows what they're doing, and I
absolutely.
got to know what I'm doing, right?
Right. This is why I don't suggest people just like going into rope like that, especially without any education. You need to at
Mm-hmm.
least be, if not learning from someone else, just doing your own research about it so that you can be knowledgeable about it. Um, let's see. In rope, so the risk is nerve injury, nerve damage. Symptoms of that can last for, well, from days to months, sometimes even years. So checking in with your partner is always something that is very, very necessary. You need to know how they are feeling, if anything is uncomfortable, blah, blah, blah. Um, your your nerves, basically it's nerve compression that is the biggest concern with rope tying, because that's when the rope is pressing against, the bone and the nerve, right? Either for
Mm-hmm.
too long or it's too much pressure. Um, and
You have to know how much pressure to put.
right, so tension is a big thing in rope, and having the right amount of tension. Uh, and so that's another reason why I say I think self-tying helped me out a lot, because I got to really feel how tight the rope was on myself, so I could gauge how tight it would be on someone else, and I could like pull back a little bit and just wait for them to tell me if they needed it tighter or whatever the case. Um, what else? So your nerves could be. So let's see, nerve injury could present in any kind of way that your nerves would kind of act, right? So you could, like your foot falls asleep kind of thing. You could get like a tingling, kind of numbing feeling in places. You could even feel cold or hot, like a stinging or itching, burning kind of thing. And
So those shouldn't happen. You shouldn't feel that. If you do, then you have to tell your partner to loosen up the rope. Is
right,
that
right, exactly. So I feel like there are more riskier forms of rope. So I don't do any suspension yet. And suspension is when you're being suspended in the air by rope. And if you're in some very difficult positions, it's just a very risky kind of thing. So that's, especially suspension, you need to not be doing without any proper education.
Mhm.
For rope, we say about, if you can get 1 to 2 of your fingers beneath your rope and the skin, um, you should be good on compression.
Mm.
That should not be an issue for you. Um, like I said, certain positions. So if your hands are up above your head, that is kind of a hard one for you to do and keep. You'll get like usually a tingling in your fingers or something like that soon. That's something that you need to communicate to your partner about. Um, then we also have uh, like safety, some zones that we do not tie on specifically. The neck is one. Shouldn't really have neck rope happening because, well, the sides of your neck and your trachea. You don't want to have compression on that. Where else? Your wrist. Your wrist, you can get handcuff neuropathy, is what it's called. And
Is
it's
it called
like
handcuffed what?
handcuff neuropathy.
Neuropathy. Uh-huh.
Mhm. And it's where there's going to be compression in that little groove between your arm and your wrist.
Mm-hmm.
That little bump that we got. It's just a lot of like right under it actually is a lot of sensitive nerve that we
Yeah.
have. Where else? We don't tie on like joints, very
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable joints like our elbows or our knees. Um, and then there's the lovely radial nerve that we are making sure is okay in ties like the TK. The TK tie is a tie that you'll probably see very often. It's where the bottom has their hands tied behind the back. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a really, as often as you might see it, it's not an easy position to do. It's
Right.
really strenuous on your shoulders and your arms. And then the way that the tie goes, it goes across your radial nerves on your arms and across your chest and under your chest. And there's just a lot of squeezing. Also, your hands are tied behind your back. That one is the most, I think that one is the one that has the most risk for some type of nerve injury. Um, so they say not to put the rope right in this groove
Mm-hmm.
in your bicep. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel that.
but that is also honestly everybody is different and everyone's body is different. So just checking in with your partner to see where it is comfortable on their body or your
Mm-hmm.
own body, right? Either in that groove, just above it, or just under it, or just above it. Yeah, but it's always a communication kind of thing, a checking in kind of thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then, well, I have them next to me, but these are my EMT shares. These are body safe um, rope shares. Yeah, so they won't cut the skin, but they will cut the rope. I don't ever really need to use them because I do mostly floor kind of rope tying, more decorative kind of things. I would say you will likely need that if you were doing suspension. Um, Not likely, let me not say likely, but that would be the time
That
that
would
you
be the more
more
recent.
likely need it. Yeah.
Right. Okay. 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 Yeah. And so looking at the rope, right? I mean the shares, that's like in case of emergency if you have to take it off right away, right? You
Right,
use that.
right,
So other than that, you're untying the knot.
right. So basically, however you do your tie, wherever you left off at, wherever the end is, that is where you will be untying from. Some people like to just pull from anywhere for
Right.
whatever reason, which is strange to me. But to do it, correctly, just wherever you are ending, you just work backwards. Um, and even in terms of like with the scissors, we really try not to use the scissors. I would say in the rope community, the main thing is that we are supposed to keep calm, make sure that your bottom is calm, because you don't want anyone freaking out and
Right.
that kind of situation anyway. So you're as a rigger, you're just supposed to keep your cool and just untie them quickly. That's all. And if you know your work, so it shouldn't be that difficult to do. It's when you start to panic where you start to like mess up and stuff, right? So
Right.
just keep calm. It's not a cause for concern usually.
Right.
Then you have them just in case.
Awesome. So Teddy K. Jeep says, can you recommend resources to learn more about Shibari? I haven't seen much available online, particularly how to tie. So first, let me say you do offer classes, right? You do teach how to tie. So you want to share that?
I do. So I do offer private virtual rope tying lessons. Um, I don't really say that I do shibari. In my lessons, I do uh, talk about it a little bit because the rope tying is influenced by shibari. But I try not to culturally appropriate. So I call myself a rope artist. Um, and I will teach you how to, I do beginner to intermediate. So I will teach you very beginner things, the history, your rope basics and safety, your fundamental, like kind of knots and stuff, that are basically Shibari influenced. So, and then we go into like a creative kind of end kind of tear, and you're learning different kinds of ties and variations of those ties. If you want to learn by yourself, the way that I started learning, I got the book Essence of the Essence of Shibari, and that was
right now. Put that in my book.
yeah,
Essence of
you can
Shibari.
get it on Amazon, wherever books are sold. And it's a very some people have some trouble following it sometimes, because it's a lot of words, it's very wordy, and there's pictures of the things, so it's kind of hard to really get an understanding sometimes of how the knot is really going just by the pictures. But you can also look up tutorials online, and again, pay a professional to learn. There are lots of people out there. I can't say though that I know too many people that look like me doing it, and I I know there are a few. There are a few, absolutely, and I admire them heavily. But yeah, I find that my customers really, customers and clients, I guess, really appreciate the fact that I am a clearly Black woman doing this kinky kind of stuff, and I'm not very scary, I guess. Like,
You don't seem scary at all.
yeah, I think I have a warm kind of disposition, a sweet disposition as well. However, you know, that's just one side. I do other stuff, right? So I just like to
I
be
have seen you
respected.
as a dom.
Exactly. That's all. That's all. I just like to be respected. So
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's similar to you. I'm always pretty nice, pretty sweet, having, laughing, but I'm very dominant as well.
yes.
So, like, if I'm in a dom position, I'm in a dom position.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah. So it
Exactly.
switches, right?
And I'm a
Switches.
Capricorn, so I'm very much I like things the way that I like them. I'm
Mhm.
very particular about them. So yeah.
Yeah. All right, so D Jones says, I'm a rigger who loves to tie folks who are first timers. I get
Mhm.
tied occasionally. I like to be intentional about providing a great first experience so they can continue to explore safely. And then he says, if they don't have those shares, don't let them tie you. Never,
Exactly.
right. Never needed to use them, but better to have them and not need them than need them and not have them.
Absolutely.
He done said a word.
Preach.
Yes,
And
yes.
it's very true. Like these shares are literally kind of like one of those things that people in the rope community are going to be checking for, like to even make sure you are someone safe to be playing with. So
Mhm.
just get your shares. There should be no reason why you shouldn't
Right,
want them,
right.
right?
It's so interesting because I've had about 5 or 6 people on here, and not one of them have mentioned the shares. Like you're the first person to mention.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
maybe they're near. This is,
Yeah, well, I'm sure they have it. I mean, if they're doing it, right? Well,
yes,
I
they are
hope.
most likely. Yes, most likely they do have it. But again, like I
You
said, you don't. It's not something you always will need. So it's probably not always like just in arm's reach. But like I said, I have my rope with me right here, and I kind of do my lessons out here most times. So I kind of keep these close by
Mhm.
anyway.
So, again, like I never okay, my friend has sent me a message that he mentioned it. Oh, I guess somebody else did. Lone Wolf did mention the shares. Thank you,
Oh,
Zach. I forgot about that. So I love how my people be keeping me on the straight and narrow. Why don't you type that message into the group chat on YouTube? Why are you sending it to my WhatsApp? Joking. He's probably watching from his cell phone, and so I think from his cell phone it's harder to leave messages. But thank you.
Yeah,
So
he knows his stuff. Yes.
so Seth, bring me some scissors too. He's coming from Brazil. I was like, bring me some pink ropes. Bring me some scissors too, some shares. But okay, good. So I guess that I must have like somehow missed that. I don't know. But yeah, that is important. New Orleans. He's in New Orleans, representing New Orleans. Yes.
Nice.
So it is important. I think safety is really important. And I'm glad that you're talking about this. I'm glad that you brought up just some of the risks that could happen.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else has talked about those, but maybe someone haven't. I just don't remember.
Yeah.
My viewers will keep me keep me on keep me right if I say something wrong. But so that's good. So I'm glad you gave Teddy K Jeep some tips, from some resources. I know a lot of people watch YouTube to learn how to tie.
Mhm.
But I do want to stress, and the book, The Essence of Shibari, I think it's good to, I do want to stress, like, if you're doing the self-learning, reading the books, watching YouTube videos, I still think it's important, me personally, to do a hands-on course with someone, with a professional that could answer your questions, that could guide you through it, that just to really make sure that you're doing it correctly, especially since you said there could be nerve damage. And if
Right.
there's nerve damage, I mean, you can mess this person up for potentially for life, where they
Exactly.
can't walk. And so it's very serious, it's very serious and not to be taken lightly.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's
Over
see.
here with the handcuffs.
Yes. So does anyone else have any questions, any comments? Again, love to keep it going. If you're enjoying this so far, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and keep me going so we can keep having these great conversations, learning these different things. And in addition to subscribing, hit that notification bell so you can receive the notifications for when my upcoming lives, or if I release a video, so you can be one of the first ones to see it. So I noticed when you first started, you had one hand tied, then you
Mm-hmm.
took it off, then you tied here, and now you have both hands tied. Like, it's only been 38 minutes, and you did all of that within the 38 minutes. I'm like,
And
wow.
I don't even remember. Like that's what I'm saying. It's literally just to keep me calm, and it's to keep my hands busy, right? Idle hands.
Yes.
Feet on, I guess, but yeah, it helps. Even like this ring, and I don't when I have the rope on, I don't use the ring, but my friend gave me this lovely ring, and it's kind of like a fidget spinner type deal around it, so I can spin it on my finger, and it helps with
Right.
just anxious kind of moments. But
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that because it's self-soothing, right?
mhm.
Self-soothing. So how did you tie just the
uh,
one hand that quick and then untie it? And then how do you tie both hands? How do you do that? Like,
um, I mean, I've never been ambidextrous in my life,
well, you
but
look
like,
like you are now.
right. I mean, I think like that's literally what has happened. I was forced to like figure out how to tie myself using all different directions and stuff, and still uh as very much different directions, because tying yourself, the things that I was learning, um I if I watch like tutorials, they're tying other people, right? But I'm still trying to do it on myself. So I would have to like reverse a lot of things
Right.
in terms of learning. And then when I started tying other people, it took me a minute because I had to re-reverse that out of my mind and do it the other way. So it's again, you see why it's a mental stimulation thing for me as well. You know, it really it gets you thinking. Um, so I mean, I'll look. See, so I'm untying myself. I'll do it over,
Right.
so you guys can see a little bit. Let me see where I'm at. Okay, and I just did a bunch of stuff. So let me see. I started with something called the single column tie, which is a very fundamental tie that you will learn. That it's the first tie that I teach in my class. Your very first lesson with me, you will learn the single column tie and the double column tie. Um, if we have time, we usually have time, but some people uh, need extra time, so we
Right.
just split it up, and it's perfectly fine. It's tailored to you. I'm very patient. I'm I'm very much understanding because I know it's not easy to get rope, right? It can be frustrating at times, but so far I haven't had anyone say that it's been a frustrating thing when they're learning with me or as they're studying at home. Um, so that's good. I think the way that I'm kind of presenting it is more helping people in an emotional way, and so they are already kind of in the mindset of it's a self-soothing, emotion regulating kind of thing. Anyways, so single column tie. I'm gonna wrap this around my wrist twice. Make sure I have some space here, and let's see. I'm gonna be doing it wrong right now, actually. So just just bear with me. Um, but this is also something that I really enjoy doing. If I do things wrong, they can still come out right. Which is interesting to me. I found that even if you start from like a different side, as long as you know the concept of something, and that's how I try to teach things in concepts, um, you you can get the result that you're looking for. So the kind of concept of a single column tie, you got to have like 3 wraps. If you see those 3 wraps, you know you can do kind of that kind of tie. Um, there's also an anatomy of the rope kind of thing I should probably talk about, but we're just getting into that. So I'm doing one single column tie on my one wrist, and then I'm gonna do it on my other wrist. And it would be a single column tie, but since I'm using the ends of the rope now, the other side of the rope, it's called a hojo cuff. So it's allowing me to make a single column tie after I've already kind of used up the start of my rope to do that tie. So just giving myself some tension, some room, and making some knots.
This is good.
And rope is definitely like a workout. This is like a 30 foot 30 feet of rope. So it's
Okay.
not that much. Some people like to get like a 50 foot of rope, and I always tell them you can do that if you want, but that is a lot of threading through uh,
Mm-hmm.
and pulling out and all that stuff. Like you see, I'm wiping my nose now. I'm hot. It's hot. It's, it is hot. Okay, this part go there. Okay, pull. Lots of pulling. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
making things like secure a little bit. And so like I'm even on the opposite side that I was just now when I did it. So um now I'm just gonna do something called the half hitch. And I make a double half hitch so it'll stay in the middle where I want it to stay. Um, whee. And a little pull. Give myself a little kind of leash situation. So, and these are my handcuffs, and I have one and two fingers can get in between on both sides, and they are like loose enough that I can adjust if I need to in any kind
Right.
of. So yeah, you know,
Okay.
things can look different than this, or just like this, or yeah. But this is a concept that I like.
Okay. I like that too. I like that too. Awesome. So D Jones says 3 things important for anything I'm into. Education, take the time to study in diverse ways and respect the labor of folks you learn from.
Mhm.
Experience, practice doing. Community, find your people. Shout out Black Tie Rope Collaborative.
Absolutely. Yes, black tie rope. Okay, so I love black tie rope.
So
They
tell
are
us about
awesome.
Black Tie Rope.
That is a lovely group chat, and just collaboration, um, co-founded by this lovely, lovely rope artist. Her name is Coco, Princess Coco. She is the owner of Pretty Ropes by Coco, which is ah, first of all, she's a black rope vendor. She's a black female rope vendor, and I'm just so proud. I'm proud of that. So hard.
Mhm.
And she sells hemp rope. Um,
Big rope.
they are just hemp,
Mhm.
natural fiber rope,
Mhm.
and they're in the most prettiest colors ever. They're very like um, pastel colors. They're gorgeous.
Nice.
Um, but she uh, has this basically a space where we can learn about rope. It's very black and brown centered, and it's just a good community. It's a really nice community where you can just commune about all things rope, and it's very nice. I love it there. Hey D.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so you're in New York, right? So New York, is there a huge community of rope tires, riggers, rope
I'm
bunnies?
I don't know if I would say huge, but there are people, there are groups and things that do rope. I believe that uh, Hacienda community they offer rope workshops. Um,
Hmm.
haven't been yet. Um, Also, Kitchen Bitches. Uh,
Hmm.
definitely wanted to go and meet them and do some stuff with them, but that was like pre-pandemic. So yeah, I don't know when I'll be able to, but those are those are just a bunch of women that are doing rope tying, and then they kind of go out in nature sometimes and do it too, and whew, it's so
Mm.
awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
That one really inspired me a lot, but yeah. Um, and then there's a lot of kinksters in New York doing rope as well. But yeah, you just gotta
Mhm.
vet your people, make sure people are safe to play with. That's all.
Okay, so D Jones says, what are your future goals with rope? And what ways do you wish to grow in your craft?
Oh man. Oh, that's a hard one. Damn it. Okay. I mean, oh gosh. I do want to learn suspension. I want to learn self-suspension. Uh, Specifically, I would love to perform some self-suspension stuff. Um, that would make me very happy. I also want to like reteach myself some musical instruments,
Mm.
um, and then also be able to do that and the rope together. that's very far ahead in my head, but it's in there. It's in there. So um, that's a goal of mine. I want to teach more people. I want to really kind of bring it to also my vanilla my vanilla people, my vanilla family kind of stuff, because uh, I notice when I talk about it in my vanilla spaces, um, they're starting to get more open-minded to it,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing the alternative ways that it can really help you, and that it's not just uh, this kinky sexual thing. It can be
Right.
very sexual, right? So, and very therapeutic and very cathartic. So I I do want to bridge like a therapy counseling kind of thing, and rope, and yeah, that would be awesome. And then I mean down the line, I want to do like I want to do like boudoir kind of things. I want to do calisthenics
Mm.
with kinky black women being tied up, and it's just nice and pretty. And I want to do pins and stickers. I really do. I want to see like the art of it, and I want to see women that look like me, and even men that look like me, um, like tied up in rope, and have that representation. Because I feel like I really did not. When I got into the community, I didn't see that, and I was always so like
Mhm.
it dampens your spirit a little bit. But I was also very hyped when I would see anything that looked like a black character or something like that. Um, but it wasn't always great. It wasn't, and it's something that is just kind of, that's what is presented. That's what you have. So take it or leave it kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I want to make nicer things. I want to offer offer a lot of things for people surrounding rope, I guess.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. So, I'll share my goals too because I have goals with the rope. My goals are really to learn more about rope, learn as much as I can, learn how to self tie and self tie myself. And as I said earlier, I want to get tied by someone and then also tie someone else. So those are my goals for right now, and I'd love to feel the effects, the meditative effect, being present through it, and the calming, soothing energies of the rope. I think that'd be good.
I think
So, hmm so do you have anything coming up? Can you share how people can get a hold of you? If you have any upcoming classes or anything like that?
oh, not someone ringing my bell. I'm not expecting anyone, so I'm not even gonna answer it. You see
Right.
how I don't like that? Well, y'all, it better be a package, and they should leave it right there. Um, Let me see. Oh God, so I have a lot of I have things in the works. I'm not
Mhm.
sure if I can like say anything about it yet. Uh, so my classes. You can definitely follow me on Instagram. Instagram has all of my links at Bondage Queen Tana. Um, I'm working on my website now. I might be doing like in-person workshops in New York soon. Um, I If you are in New York, I will be at NSFW on Friday, actually, for like my first in-person rope performance. So
Oh, nice.
I'm very excited about
A lot of cherries. Pop a
that.
lot of cherries.
I'm so happy about that. Like that's something that I definitely manifested this year. I was manifesting that. I was like, yeah, I really want to perform at this place, and whew, yeah, yeah, we're gonna do it. So if you're here, please come out and see me. Uh, this Friday, November 19th, right? Yeah. But yeah, my classes, private lessons, you can do that. Um, and yeah, keep in touch with me. That's all. If you have watched me here, you can enter my DMs in a respectful way, in a respectful way, or email me. My email is also on my Instagram. So
Awesome. This was so great. I thank you so much for coming out. And it's funny that you had to say in a respectful way, because same thing. I get people just all kinds of messages, and it's like, y'all, yeah, y'all, some of these guys act like they have no home training.
quite honestly, this is I just block them. I block them. I don't have time for that energy. If it's not serving me,
Mhm.
I don't need it in my life. I don't need it in my space. Yeah.
Right. No. So, so guys, if you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate that. And hit the notification bell. And also give me a thumbs up, because this
That's
was
right.
good. It was great having Queen Tana on here. Some great information, like really great information. You can follow me as well on Instagram at Prandhara Prem_Tantra, Twitter and Facebook, Renee Adolphe. And I have a website, prandharaprem.com, as well as reneeadolphe.com. And I'm on Clubhouse at Prandhara Tantra. So hit me up on one of those. And I do have a couple things upcoming. Well, big things. I have Imanja Goddess Retreat coming up January 29th to February 5th in Salvador, Bahia. We're going to be connecting to the goddess energy of Imanja, embodying that energy. We're going to see some rituals, some ceremonies surrounded by her. We're going to do offerings. We're going to do capoeira lessons, Afro-Brazilian dancing, drumming. It's going to be amazing. And we're going to be doing tantric exercises to really connect you to that feminine power, to that goddess energy that's within you. So that's January 29th to February 5th, 2022. So all of that information is on my website at www.prandharaprem.com or www.reneeadolphe.com. So you'll find that information on my website. So if you've been wanting to come to Brazil, come on. If you've been wanting to connect to your body, to your physical body, get your goddess power on, come to Salvador next year, beginning of next year. It's going to be great. We're going to have an amazing time. And Queen SanTana, thank you for coming on.
You're
This
so
was amazing.
thank you for having me. Thank you for popping my cherry. It was
Yes,
fun.
you're welcome. I thoroughly enjoyed popping your cherry. Uh, and D Jones says, thank you both. Much love and respect. Thank you, D Jones, for coming on, for watching. Thank you,
Thank
everyone who came on. Phil, Kira Chiana, um, and lots of love for you guys. Everyone have a great night.
you.
Bye. Thank you.